Okay, everybody, I am going to, for this section of it, get this adjusted a little bit. For this section of it, I am going to clean this gun. I'm not going to do the whole procedure. I'm going to do most of it, at least on camera. There is a ton of videos out there that a lot of guys have on cleaning. I got my own way, they got theirs. What I have done here is I have filled a bucket with warm soapy water. I don't use hot water. Hot water will flash rust a muzzleloader, and flash rust is just a real thin layer of rust that comes onto it when you have really hot water and it starts to dry out and that's on blued barrels. You don't have to worry about that so much on stainless, but it depends on the level of carbon that's in the stainless. It still may do a little bit of a flash rust. So I just do a warm cleaning job. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, because one of the nice things about paper patching is the paper patches don't allow any lead to touch the barrel. And so because the lead is never inside touching the barrel, I really don't have to do a lot of scrubbing on it. I do a patch through there. You can see that doesn't look too bad. And after I do the patch, what I'll do is I will run a brush down it, and the brush, all I'm doing that for is to ensure that any little nooks or crannies that may have a little bit of fouling, that'll get cleaned. And so I'm going to shoot a little bit of dishwashing soap in there, and I'm going to do a couple of pass-throughs with that. All right, that's probably going to be good. Now I'm going to run another patch through there, and what I'm doing is I'm scrubbing that back and forth, and the water's pulling up into the barrel, and so it's giving it a little bit of a rinse and a little bit of a soap at the same time. This is just typical muzzleloader cleaning, and it's pretty much there. I think it's in pretty good shape. I only shot this gun 6 times, so it's not like it was super bad. Next I'm going to clean up the area right around the lock and the nipple, the hammer. And I just take this wire brush and I just work it all over, trying to get as much of that fouling as I can off of it. And it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to fill that barrel up a little bit with water. And I'll do a rinse on it. Take another patch here. And I'm going to wet it just a little bit so it can slide down easy. I'm going to take a look and see. It's looking pretty clean. It's not in bad shape, so I believe that I'm pretty well good to go. I'll run a little bit more water through it. All right. Next, I'm gonna wipe it all down, get all the water off of it. And then I'm going to run some more dry patches through the barrel, and the barrel's going to be pretty much done. And so I'm going to, and what I do is after I run the dry patches through, I like to shoot air into my area where the nipple is. I have a compressor, and I blow out all the air, all the moisture, and then I swab it. Then I blow it again and swab it again. I also like to pay attention to shooting air underneath the underrib. That will create, that right there will catch water and cause rust. And so I like to shoot air underneath that, dry that off, and then the next stage I will oil everything down. So I'm going to sign off for just a minute, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, my compressor is filling up so I can blow out the barrel and get all the moisture out of it. The next thing I want to do is I want to clean this hammer, and I clean the hammer every time I shoot the gun. They have a tendency of rusting up if that's not done. That's one spot that kind of gets neglected on muzzle loaders. And I like to make sure that it's good and clean. out the barrel, I'll go ahead and blow all the moisture off this, out of every little nook and cranny that's on it. One of the things that I've done with this particular hammer is this hammer is been bent, and when I fitted this to my lock, they don't come this way, and so I actually had to heat this up. I bent this part of the hammer down so that it strikes squarely on the nipple, and then I bent this out so that when I've got my my peep sight on, I can cock this a little bit better. So that's a little bit of a custom thing that I did with that I think it doesn't look bad, and it also is very efficient, so I like that. And the last thing to be cleaned is going to be the nipple. And nipples don't last forever, especially with these big bullets. A guy's just going to have to play it by ear how many shots he can get. They get to where they're so eroded, and I think this one's getting pretty close to that point. But they get so eroded that they can't hold the pressure back, and what ends up happening is when you have a nipple that is in poor condition, when you shoot the gun will actually cock itself, usually to the half cock mark. This one was doing that, but I'm going to try to get just a few more shots out of it. I've used a pipe cleaner and I've scrubbed it out. I've scrubbed the outside and it's in good shape. It's all ready to go. Next I will use my compressed air, and I will get that blown out so that all the moisture's out of it. And I am going to, I guess I'm done with this. I'm going to go blow it out. I'm not going to show that because it's pretty straightforward. I'll see you in a minute when I go to put it back together. Okay, I took the barrel out, I blew it out, and I'm going to show this. This little bit of fouling right here is actually from the snail. The snail is right in here. It's this piece right here. The powder sets in here. The cap goes off and the fire goes in there. And when you're cleaning, one of the things that you really need to be careful of and you really need to pay attention to is making sure that that's clean. And that barrel was clean. I didn't have anything in it, but I did have a little bit of something come out of the snail. And I would not have got that out if it weren't for the air. And so that's where the air comes in really handy. And it got it nice and clean. So what I'm going to do next, maybe I'll see if I can bring this a little closer. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to lubricate this barrel, and I use rim oil. A lot of guys use other stuff, but I have absolutely come to believe that this rim oil for these for these guns is perfect. What I'm going to do is I saturated that patch, and I'm going to shoot a little down inside the barrel too. I want plenty of oil inside there. I want there to be enough oil in there that there is no chance that I can get any kind of corrosion. A lot of people believe that a stainless steel barrel cannot rust, and that is absolutely not true. Stainless steel barrels can rust, they will rust, and they do rust. Now, you can see there's nothing on that patch except for oil. I've taken all of the residue out of it. It's completely clean. It's completely oiled. I'm going to shoot a little oil on the underrib. I'm going to do it inside the sight. The reason why I do the underrib is because I blew air in there. I took all the moisture out. Now I'm replacing that oil that I had lost from cleaning. I like it to be completely oiled. I also will put oil through the thimbles. These are also called ramrod pipes by some people. I make sure that my front sight is got oil. It is a blued steel sight, and so if there's any powder or any kind of residue left behind, it will rust. And so by making sure that I've got that covered, it's all good. You just want to make sure that everything is covered with oil. In my opinion, with this rim oil, there's no way that you can get too much, because like I showed before when I was out at the range, before you shoot, you clear that oil out so that it doesn't cause any problems. I'm going to put a layer of oil on my hammer. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to reassemble this gun. Oh, before I do that, I want to put a little oil on my lock and tang. Sometimes they get a little bit of fouling. I pull my lock off and clean the inside of the lock. About every other time I do it. Depends on how much I shot it. If I would have shot this more than 6 times, I may have went ahead and did it then. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the screw that holds the hammer in place. Put it on. Okay, that's now on. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the lock screw right here. This is what keeps the lock tight. All you need is just finger tight. You don't need anything more than finger tight. It just doesn't need any more than that. If you get more than that, you will crack your stock right here. So best bet is just snug with fingers only. Don't crank on it. Next, we are going to put the nipple back in, and one of the things I like to do is I apply a little bit of breech plug grease to my my nipples. That makes sure that they don't end up seizing inside the barrel when I shoot. And so I got a little bit of lock anti-seize on that. Put that on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. And I tighten that up good and tight. Next, these guns are pretty simple, so I'm going to slide it together. And put the thimble back in, the wedge pin back in. And the wedge pin needs to be tight. That needs to be very, very snug. If you can take your gun apart without a tool, it's probably too loose. It needs to be tighter. Doesn't need to be super, super tight, but it just needs to be good and snug. After you get the barrel in, go ahead and finish wiping it off a little bit with some more oil. Like I said, I believe that there's no such thing as too much of rim oil. Rim oil is good. Now I'm going to put my sight back together, because whenever I clean my gun, I always take my sight out. It's a very fragile sight. I've hunted with these sights for years, and I've never broke one, but it's very possible that can be broken when cleaning. Plus, there's a good chance of getting rust in there when you clean too. And so you can get the whole thing apart, get it all cleaned up and oiled. So, for this segment of it, I'm pretty much done. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it one more good shot of oil down the barrel, and the last thing I'm going to do is take a patch and seal the nipple. What that will do is that will keep the oil from coming back and getting into the wood and softening the wood. So that's my cleaning right there. That's it. The final segment of this video is going to be me wrapping some paper on some bullets and sizing them. And so I'm going to sign off for right now and do that.